Alright everybody, it's that time of year again. GLJune is here. This is the annual crossover between a bunch of Green Lantern content creators, as we all team up to cover one storyline. This year we're talking about Green Lantern Corps Recharge, the 2005 miniseries that brought back the Green Lantern Corps for the first time since Emerald Twilight got rid of the Corps back in 1994. So here's how we've broken up this 5-part story. The podcast of OA is covering issue 1, the LanternCast is covering issue 2, the Green Lanterns podcast is covering issue 3, Emerald Echo on the Multiverse Musings YouTube channel is covering issue 4, and I am covering the 5th issue right here in the video you're currently watching. Just so we're clear, I'm only going to be talking about issue 5, the final issue. So if you want the whole story, you'll need to pause the video here and go check out the other 4 parts first. The good news is that since I'm last, it means that all of the other parts have already been released and are ready for you. I've put links to each of them in the description of this video in the proper order, and I highly encourage you to show them the kind of warmth and support that you always show me. Because as we're about to see, the greatest strength of the Green Lantern Corps comes when they're willing to come together and make something great. So, from this point on, I'm going to assume that you're all up to date on everyone else's GLJune content, so it's full spoilers from here on. Green Lantern Corps Recharge number 5 is written by Dave Gibbons and Jeff Johns, with pencils by Patrick Gleason, inks by Prentice Rollins, letters by Travis Lanham, and colors by Moose Bauman. The title of this issue is Star Death. The Spider Guild has launched a full-scale invasion of the planet Oa, and they couldn't have picked a more opportune time. The Green Lantern Corps is in the early stages of being rebuilt, and we found out back in issue number 1 that there are only a little over 300 Green Lanterns right now, and most of them are untrained rookies. If that wasn't bad enough, the Spider Guild has the element of surprise, since they've developed a method of opening wormholes that use stars as their entry and exit points. So an enemy armada is literally falling out of the sun to rain death and destruction across the surface of Oa. To make matters even worse, many of the Spider Guild's ships and drones are yellow, so as to exploit the age-old weakness of the Green Lantern rings. Ever since the Parallax retcon, it's been established that an inability to affect the color yellow isn't actually a limitation of the ring or its energy, but rather a side effect of an individual Green Lantern's inability to properly accept and deal with their own fears. And since all of these new recruits are being made to fight a war on their first day as Lanterns, most of them can't do anything against a yellow enemy. Hal Jordan and John Stewart arrive in response to the Code Zero alert that calls for all Green Lanterns to return to Oa when the planet is under attack. But even with their help, the situation is a mess. The Corps is outnumbered, the enemy has the high ground, and everyone is scattered everywhere. Suddenly, there's a huge burst of light right above the central battery. A group of Green Lanterns, specifically Kilowog, Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner, Stell, Green Man, Saranic Natu, Izamak Hall, and Vath Sarn, all exit transluminal space and are ready to join the fight. Salik is very upset, because it's apparently incredibly dangerous to exit hyperspace so close to a planet, and they just broke all sorts of rules. As soon as they arrive, Guy starts calling the shots, ordering the rest of his group to use what little power they have left to give Kilowog cover while he summons the rest of the Corps to their exact location. Apparently Kilowog has the only ring capable of broadcasting a message to every other Green Lantern ring at once, which is probably one of the perks of holding a position of authority for so long, but it also speaks to the fact that every Lantern in the Corps knows and trusts Kilowog, so of course he'd be the one who can unify them. Kilowog uses the last of his power to summon every Green Lantern on Oa to rally around the central battery. Again, Salik is not happy, because they're still losing and now are a single easy-to-hit target. But they needed to group up, because the only way they can possibly win is by working together. Guy Gardner, of all people, gives an inspirational speech about how the Green Lantern Corps is the greatest team the universe has ever seen, and how there's nothing they can't do when they combine their will and give it everything they've got. The central battery didn't just make for a convenient rallying point. A lot of the Lanterns were starting to run low on power, and here we get our title drop, as the Green Lantern Corps recharges. Now that everyone is at full strength, Guy lays out a plan. The Spider Guild's home base is in the Vega system, at the other end of the wormhole that's connected to Oa's sun. Guy wants the Green Lantern Corps to send as much power as possible back through that wormhole to blow up the enemy base. And again, Guy defers to Kilowog, who gives the order for the entire Green Lantern Corps to unleash everything they have all at once. A veritable tsunami of willpower erupts into the sky as 300 Green Lanterns grab hold of the sun, encasing it within the force of their own will. And they're doing this while the Spider Guild continues to attack them from all sides, trying to kill and maim anything to make the Lanterns lose their focus. But they keep pushing forward. Even the newest, most reluctant among them, like Saranic Natu, will not stop, will not fall, and refuses to let the Lanterns beside her give up either. With a final surge of power, the Lanterns force the sun itself through the wormhole and throw it at the Spider Guild's base. The color yellow has always been a major limitation of the Green Lantern Corps, a weakness that they could never overcome. And now here they are, the foundational members of a new era of the Corps, announcing their arrival to the universe by proving that their willpower is strong enough to overwhelm the sun, the massive, powerful, yellow sun. The message is clear, the Green Lantern Corps is back, and there's nothing they can't overcome when they work together. Even after destroying the Spider Guild base, it takes a while to finish off all the ships and drones. But by the end of it, at least some of the rookies learn to surpass their weakness to yellow. The Guardians are pleased with the way that Guy Gardner stepped up and handled the situation, so they promote him to the Green Lantern Corps Honor Guard, giving him the authority to roam the universe, helping out wherever he's needed instead of being assigned to a single sector. Salak is still very annoyed, and takes some small satisfaction in revoking Guy's right to go home for the next year. And just like that, the new Green Lantern Corps has weathered its first disaster. It may not seem like much of a victory since Oa is a wreck, every Lantern who survived is injured, and they still have a very long way to go before basic things like recruitment and training is anywhere close to complete. But whether we're talking about seasoned veterans or new recruits, this battle proved to all of them that the hype about the Corps, about who they are and what they can do, is all true. The Green Lantern Corps is back, and they're here to stay. But is that necessarily a good thing? Because while throwing the sun at the bad guy is a very cool feat of power, the result is that it's now always nighttime on Oa. So even as the Corps celebrates a hard-fought victory, their own home base is now shrouded in darkness, which foreshadows the very unsettling path the Guardians are about to go down. They express the need to strengthen the Corps and fortify Oa, which makes sense given what just happened. But they also look down over their model of the cosmos, and consider that maybe it's time to make the universe afraid of them for a change. This is the first domino that eventually leads to the Blackest Night. And if you'd like to hear all about that, I've got a whole video series that I'll link to at the end here. But for now, I want to thank everyone for coming along on this journey with us through Green Lantern Corps Recharge. Again, if you haven't already checked out the Podcast of Oa, the LanternCast, the Green Lanterns Podcast, and Emerald Echo, I have links to all 4 of them in the description of this video. Green Lantern Corps Recharge is an excellent story, and you've got the opportunity to experience all of it while also interacting with some dedicated Green Lantern fans who all work hard to put on a good show. So hopefully everyone who watches my videos will give them a shot. And thank you to anyone who's watching my videos for the first time because of this crossover. I really appreciate it, and I hope you decide to come back for more. On the screen right now, I'm putting a link to the first video in my Blackest Night series, as well as my video all about Guy Gardner's time as a Red Lantern. It's one of my favorite videos that I've made, and it's appropriate since Recharge really was the beginning of the era that made Guy into the character we all know and love today. If you like what I do, please consider subscribing to the channel and following me on Blue Sky. I've got a lot of things planned that I think you're gonna want to see. But until then, thank you for taking the time to watch. My name is Dan, we'll talk again soon.